Hi everyone, I'm Penny and welcome to Wacko Witch Astrology. Our video today is about Venus in Aquarius. Now, Venus stays very close to the sun, so it is likely that you have your Venus in the same sign as your sun sign, but it may not be. So make sure you've looked at your natal chart so you can know for sure. Some celebrities with Venus in Aquarius are Ellen DeGeneres, Taylor Swift, and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Now, honestly, when you are trying to court someone with the Venus in Aquarius, it's important to realize that they're not interested in anything short-term. So if you come up to them with a short-term proposal, it almost might be kind of insulting to them because they want something that is going to last. They're actually kind of romantic and they want to know that there's some possibility of you two being together long-term. They prefer to go on longer dates, and they like to really have an interesting sort of romance story to be able to tell in the future. They like for their relationships to be very theatrical, so there is a lot of fighting and things like that going on. They want something crazy and eventful. They want to keep it interesting. They want to have a good story to tell their grandkids about how they and their husband or wife met. Now, even though they want something to last long term, they kind of believe in trusting the universe. They believe in soulmates and fated relationships. So they'll kind of just go with the flow. And if a relationship hasn't really worked out, they're perfectly capable of letting it go. But they do tend to keep a lot of emotional baggage, and that alters their idea of relationships and how they're going to work. And a lot of times will cause them to have trust issues. Ironically, most of them do want very conventional types of relationships. They want the traditional classic marriage and falling in love, but they tend to have just a lot of unusual beliefs. And they have their own idea about how it's going to work. They totally believe in the crazy breakups and getting back together and going on this long hiatus and then falling madly in love again and spending your life together. Now, if you want to date them, the thing to be patient about is that they tend to be really uncertain of what they want. They know they want excitement, but there's not really much else, and they're not the best at planning either. They want to be sure that the relationship is mutually beneficial and that you are both getting something that you want and there's an exchange going on, and that they're not just being used for the things that they can provide to you. I think a lot of times they will say that they want the opposite thing of what you want, just to make sure that you guys end up having a lot of variety. Like, okay, we'll do the thing that I want to do, and then we'll do the thing that you want to do. They like having a lot of variety in the types of dates they go on with their partner, and really I think they like to do everything in one day. But they'd like to go kayaking on the river one day, have a candlelit dinner the next, and traveling by bus, going on some kind of adventure to who knows where the next. I would try to do as many different things as possible all in one day, like ride into the city, go to an arcade or go-kart racing, then stop by a bar and have a few drinks, dancing, and then a romantic evening at home. They get bored easy, so you really have to keep it exciting. One of the things I feel like they do when they get bored is they just start arguments. Now, for the long term, if you're really going to have a relationship that lasts with them, they like to know that from the beginning. They don't like to have a lot of blockages or obstacles in the relationship, and they're not really that willing to work with them because they'll just take it as a sign that we're not meant to be together. And if you tell them from day one that you're only interested in having a specific thing with them, they're not really open to you changing your mind. They want to stick with the original plan and the original feelings. If you're living in different areas, they want you to move to them or offer to have them live with you. They want you to make it easy for them. If there's some kind of disagreement with your family and your family doesn't want you to be with them or something, you might have to choose between them and your family. They just want to make sure that you'll get everything out of the way so that you two can be together. Now, sex isn't really that important to them one way or the other unless they take it personally, because they kind of view it as a sign or symptom of how healthy or unhealthy the relationship may be. It's definitely not all that they care about, and they don't want to feel like it's all that you care about. But if you're not interested in it at all, they might wonder if there's something wrong. But I do think they could be understanding if they have a partner who like specifically doesn't want to have sex for some reason, and they know that it's not just them. Really, Venus in Aquarius is this crazy mixture of trying to have excitement and not being able to contain something, not being able to figure out how it fits into the real practical world, and wanting commitment, wanting something that will last, and trying to give it rules and structure, but basing those rules off of things that have already happened to you in life and worries and insecurities that you have. It's very hard for them to let go of the past, and the things that hurt them just alter their idea of how relationships should be. And once they make up their mind, they are very stubborn about it. They think that's the only way that things are ever going to be able to work out for them. So they kind of need it to be able to fit into that set of guidelines. They are open-minded in discovering and learning about other ways to have a relationship, but once they decide that something doesn't work, they're not open-minded anymore. They're going to stick with that because they're stubborn. But they really want to be able to have it all. It's almost like you combine all the other 11 Venus signs and they want to have a little bit of what each of them have and what each of them prioritize in a relationship. You know, they want to do the couch snuggling that the Earth and water Venus signs value so much, and they want to go out and have adventures and show off the relationship like Venus and Leo would like to, and then they want to go out and do crazy stuff like Venus and Sagittarius would. They don't ever want to feel like their relationship is bland or that they have this person that they do just this one specific thing with. They don't even want it to be one specific set of things. They want this person to be very open-minded and adventurous and willing to experience life with them. They want someone who is off the wall and unpredictable and completely uncommon. They want a relationship to spice up their life and not to limit it, because so many people have this idea of relationships and marriage that that's what cracks down the rules in your life. And once you are committed to someone, there's a ton of things you can't do anymore, and you can't go out and have fun because you're responsible for the emotional well-being of this other person. And I don't think they want to have to worry about the emotional well-being of their partner. They don't want to have to coddle their partner. They want their relationship to be two independent people who could very well survive on their own and don't need the support of anyone else, but have the support of each other anyway and have each other to enjoy life with. But to us, that can come across as them seeming kind of cold or insensitive because we're like, wow, why don't they care about my feelings? But maybe this is actually kind of a healthy thing, because you need to be able to take care of your own feelings regardless of whether or not you're in a relationship. And they don't want to limit you. They don't want you to have to rely on them because they know it's not really going to help anyone in life. And really, I think they feel that if you rely on them for emotional security, once you can't provide that for them, like perhaps on a day where they're too busy and they don't have time to help you dry your tears, they think you're going to cheat on them or something because they have trust issues. And they think if that's what our relationship is based on your need for me, then what happens when you don't need me? So they don't want to be needed. They want to agree to have a faithful relationship if that's what they believe in. But if they believe that the world is full of needy people, and if they themselves are needy and they need constant attention, they need drama, and they need lots of excitement to fill in the gaps of time, then they know that the more people that are involved, the crazier things are going to get. And we can't be revolving around people's insecurities and trying to meet everyone else's needs. It's a lot easier if everyone can just meet their own needs. So they do actually have a very wise outlook when it comes to relationships, but these principles are very difficult to apply a lot of times. And if you don't have a partner that's on the same page as you, they're probably not going to stick around for you. They're probably not going to hear you out. They're probably going to just think you're crazy and leave. And back to the courting thing, they believe that trust is very important in a relationship. And if they don't have trust, they feel like it can't go anywhere. So they will test your trust. And if they feel that you don't trust them, they will freak out and back away. But what they don't realize is when it's someone you don't really know very well, and it's just this person doing random crazy things because they're trying to test you and test your trust, I mean, you don't really have an opinion of them to begin with, and you don't know yet whether or not you can trust them. And honestly, they're probably just going to keep messing with you more and more if you don't trust them. And it's difficult to figure out whether or not you should trust these people because of the way they act and really the games that they play. In Venus and Aquarius, if you would stop testing other people so much and stop worrying about whether or not other people trust you and spending so much time figuring out whether or not they trust you, then you wouldn't look so suspicious and it would be easier for people to trust you. But it all depends on what your level of security is. And if you believe in yourself and believe in your relationship and believe that your partner won't cheat on you or won't run away from you, then it tends to be easier for your partner to do the same for you as well. Venus in Aquarius believes that all relationships will simply be what they are and you can't necessarily change them. And once they decide what a relationship is to them, then there really is no changing their mind. Even if they decide it's going to be something bad, like this horrible destructive thing that goes on all throughout their life, they will manifest that and they will make it happen. They won't let go to their idea of how it was supposed to turn out. So forming your opinion and making your decisions about how your life and your relationship is going to be is very important for you. Now let's talk about compatibility with the other 11 Venus signs and with Venus and Aquarius with itself. So Venus and Aries, you will be able to appreciate that they know what they want right off the bat and they're very certain of themselves, but you also might feel a little bit uncomfortable with their level of self-assurance. They're going to be straightforward and to the point. They might ask you to marry them or declare that you and they are going to get married in the first month of the relationship. And I think this might actually scare you a little bit, even though it is really in line with what you want, because you might be like, okay, what is this person up to? And you'll probably think that they're a lot more complicated than they actually are. Venus in Taurus is extremely physically oriented, and I think this might make you feel uncomfortable and make you feel like that's all they care about, so it probably won't be too well received on your end, and it'll probably hurt their feelings that you would even think that in the first place, and you just have a lot of conflict involving that. You're probably going to be convinced that this person doesn't really like you or love you, and that they just want your body, and there always has to be touching involved, and you're going to be like, why do we always have to be touching? But then if you're not touching, then they're going to wonder why you aren't touching them. Venus and Gemini can be very talkative in love. They love to talk to the people that they love. And Venus in Aquarius really enjoys this as well. So they'll probably just go along with it and not even realize that talking is all you guys are doing. And they are enjoying the talking, but then when they look back on that, they're going to get kind of upset. Like, wow, talking is all we ever do. And like, we don't go anywhere. And even when we go somewhere, all we do is talk. Venus in Aquarius is more entertained by their surroundings and what's going on around them than Venus in Gemini is. Venus in Gemini is more entertained by what's going on in my head and what's going on in your head. So to Venus in Aquarius, this might come off as that Venus and Gemini can't pay attention to anything that's going on, and they just have like a really short attention span, and it's impossible to do anything else with them, even though they do love the good conversation. Venus in Cancer really carries a lot of baggage just like you do, so you guys are probably going to fight a lot because of it, and really you're just fighting about things that happened in the past and not even necessarily things that you did to each other. It's things that happened in your life that made you feel insecure and uncomfortable, and you're still holding on to that, and it's causing problems in your current relationship. Venus in Leo will enjoy really extravagant dates with you, and you guys will both enjoy the fighting and the drama that happens in between. You just enjoy having things be very passionate and eventful, and, you know, having this amazing story to tell everyone about. But if you two are going to be together, I think it's important to realize that the fighting is trivial and not to let it interfere with your plans for the day. And keep in mind in the back of your head that even though you guys seem like you're very different and you have a lot of disagreements, like, the fighting is kind of just a source of entertainment in the relationship. And, you know, I think you should know that you guys still love each other or like each other if you're not at the love point yet. You both need to be able to just drop the argument, forget about it, and have a nice dinner and focus on what's in front of you and go from one event to the other without letting arguments stop your nice dates. Now, Venus in Virgo has the planning and the practical skill that can help give you the kind of relationship that you want, but that you're lacking. But honestly, I have Venus in Virgo, and I feel like trying to date someone with Venus in Aquarius is trying to fit a square peg into a round little hole. And Venus in Virgo is probably going to be overanalyzing everything you say and do and disagreeing with it and being like, okay, none of what you insist on makes any sense. And then you're just going to get like petty and end up arguing about basically nothing. Now, Venus in Virgo can stop taking the tiny little details and picking them out from the rubbish and deciding that it's something that they're going to hang on to and focus on and amplify. And you can stop being stubborn and insistent that their decision to do this is like some kind of huge betrayal to you. Then the relationship can work out a lot better. Venus in Libra has great compatibility with you, and it is a give and take relationship. But I do feel like it can be kind of a like, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? Type of thing that could get kind of boring and annoying, and really you're just both trying to attain balance and be considerate of what the other person wants, and then you end up forgetting what either one of you wanted in the first place, and you're like, we need some direction. And another potential problem is that even though you guys agree most of the time, you know, when you agree, it's like you have nothing to fight about, and it feels like there's no passion there. Because like I said, I think Venus in Aquarius kind of likes having a little bit of drama involved. But then when you disagree, it's like you really, really disagree, and it's some huge argument that you guys just cannot let go. Venus in Scorpio likes to have a level of control that you might not feel comfortable with them having. And you both do want deep and lasting connections, but you will probably question each other's feelings a lot. And the things that they see as a demonstration of love are probably not the same as what you see as a demonstration of love. But I think you will appreciate their intensity and might even take advantage of their possessiveness a little bit. I think this could be a good match, though. You guys could really keep each other in line. Venus and Sagittarius can really keep a relationship exciting because they like to go out and try new things. They like interesting people, and they tend to be pretty interesting, so there is a lot of initial attraction between you and them. And you'll probably come up with a lot of really off-the-wall things to do together, spur of the moment. So that's something that you'll probably really like, but the idea of commitment will probably scare them. Venus in Capricorn is interested in long-term relationships like you are, but they're unlikely to understand your needs, and they're probably going to feel like you make everything overly complicated because they're a little bit more straightforward and, you know, just going on one straight path, like right ahead, coloring inside the lines. And you're like, what is this zigzag and all over the place? Venus and Aquarius with Venus and Aquarius could be either a really, really good match or an awful, no way it's possibly going to succeed match, because If they had different life experiences than you have, and they created a different set of rules and ideas for how a relationship should be, then that's going to make them completely incompatible with you. But if you both have had similar experiences and you're on the same page, then it's going to make things a lot easier. Venus and Pisces people are very understanding, and they'll want to help you heal from your past traumas, but they don't really understand why you cling on to your view of the world so much. And they think you'd be better off if you just let it go. And you're like, oh, if I let it go, then I'm probably just going to spontaneously combust or something, and that's going to freak you out, and you're not sure what to do. So they're going to be trying to take you a step further so that you won't carry so much baggage with you. And that can be really helpful to you if you're open-minded to doing it and to hearing them out on what they have to say. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please check out the rest of my channel and make sure you're subscribed for all kinds of exciting videos about UFC fighters and astrological placements and dream interpretation and all kinds of crazy shit that I have planned. So stay tuned. Bye. Venus in Aquarius sees the success of a relationship as being incredibly unlikely. Like, true love and meeting your soulmate is like this rare, special thing that happens like once in a blue moon in the universe. And it's not something that everyone can have. And they think it is very unlikely for them to be able to have it as well. For whatever reason, they always kind of felt like an outsider in social situations. They felt a little bit ostracized, and some of them, you know, they do have things that set them apart from their peers. But for others, it's just like they felt like they weren't smart enough, or there was something internally going on, and they kind of developed this perspective of themselves as being an outsider. So there tends to be this kind of there's them and then there's me mentality, and a lot of times they might feel like people are kind of out to get them and everyone's just going to try to hurt them or take advantage of them. And this really can cause a lot of problems for them in relationships, and that's a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this video, and how your mindset can kind of backfire on you and doesn't really serve you all that well. Getting to the point where you feel together with someone and feeling like you have found your soulmate must be incredibly difficult for you. It'll make you not really feel like you're alone anymore, and it'll make you feel like you're living on the edge of reality and existence with someone else for a change. It'll make life feel a lot more exciting. When it comes to finding the right partner, Venus in Aquarius is unlikely to make the first move. They're more likely to accept whoever comes to them and whoever finds them interesting and intriguing and appealing, whoever is attracted to them. And that's when they realize, hey, there must really be something there if this person sees that in me. And if they like you, they're probably just going to make themselves accessible to you and not really be too direct about anything. They're just kind of hover around you like air. And if you do show interest in them, they will try their best to meet your expectations, at least at first. If they end up getting discouraged or determining at some point that it's not worth it, or it's not going to work out, or they're not trusted, or they're unappreciated, then they will give up. Dating with them is going to have a lot of ups and downs. This is definitely a rocky relationship. In order for them to feel comfortable in a long-term relationship, they need to feel like there's nothing that could ever possibly get in the way between you and them, and that you're going to be together forever no matter what. If something new pops up after you guys have already been together for a good while, they're more willing to deal with it than if it were to pop up early on in the relationship. Once you have that developed sense of security with them, things are a lot easier. But the problems that arose early on in the relationship and the fights that you guys had are likely to stay in the back of their head and affect the relationship in the long run.